Hey everyone, welcome back to the deep dive. We all feel it, right? The constant flood of information, it can be so overwhelming.
Absolutely, and that's really why we do this,
Yeah.
Taking one source, sometimes just one, and like going deep, extracting that core understanding.
Exactly. And today's deep dive is, well, it's a powerful one. We're looking at a text that captures this moment of intense decision, a real turning point.
Yeah, it's excerpts from chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita titled Sankhya Yoga, which translates to the Yoga of Knowledge. And what's so gripping about this chapter is it throws you right into the middle of this huge personal crisis, and offers guidance right when it's desperately needed.
Yeah, so picture this for a second. You're on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, these two sides of a family about to clash in this massive, devastating war. And right there in the heart of it is Arjuna, this incredible warrior facing this unbelievable internal turmoil.
Right. It's not just some ancient story, though.
Yeah.
It's a powerful illustration of what happens when we face these incredibly tough choices in our own lives when everything feels like it's on the line. Totally. And for everyone listening, in our mission today is to really extract the wisdom from this chapter. What are those core ideas that can help us navigate our own difficult times, understand how we operate in the world and grasp something deeper about ourselves. We're going to explore concepts like the eternal soul, this idea of selfless action, and why knowledge is so crucial in all of this.
It's really about finding those timeless truths that still resonate today.
All right, so let's jump right into the thick of it. Arjuna's there on the battlefield, ready to fight. But then he takes a good look around at who he's actually facing.
Yeah, and he sees his relatives, his teachers, people he deeply respects on both sides of this impending battle, and he's just overwhelmed. I mean, you imagine that. Seeing your own family arrayed against you, ready for this brutal conflict.
And the text describes him as being overcome with this wave of compassion, right? But also this profound sense of doubt. He actually puts down his weapons, this amazing warrior just frozen by what he's facing.
It really speaks to that universal human experience when we feel totally stuck,
Mm.
you know, unable to take action because the weight of the situation is just too much to bear.
Right, this isn't just some abstract philosophical character. Arjuna's a hero, a fighter,
Mhm.
and yet he's brought to his knees by this internal struggle.
Yeah, he's questioning the rightness of this whole war, the potential destruction it'll bring to his family, to society as a whole. It's a real moment of moral reckoning.
Absolutely. So it's right into this moment of intense crisis that Krishna steps in.
Yeah, Krishna, who is Arjuna's charioteer, but also his spiritual guide, and Krishna's initial wisdom goes straight to the heart of Arjuna's distress.
Okay, so what does he do? What does he say?
He starts by shifting Arjuna's focus away from the immediate, the physical reality of the battlefield to something much more fundamental, the nature of our true self.
Here's where it gets really interesting. I think Krishna introduces this core teaching about the Atman, our eternal soul, and how it's completely separate from the body, which is temporary.
Exactly. It's almost like he's saying what you're seeing these bodies that might be harmed. That's not the complete picture of who they truly are.
Right, there's something more going on here than just the physical.
Krishna explains that this essence, the soul, is indestructible. Verse 2.19 puts it very clearly. The soul can never be destroyed.
Wow. And the implications of that are huge. What we think of as death is really just a change in the physical form. It doesn't touch that eternal core of who we are.
Think about that inner you that feels consistent despite all the changes in your life, all the experiences you've gone through. That's what we're talking about.
That's so powerful. And to make this concept a little more tangible, Krishna uses an analogy in verse 2.13. He talks about how the soul goes through different stages in a body, childhood, adulthood, old age, and then moves on.
It's like the soul is just moving from one set of clothes to another,
Yeah.
There's a constant presence that goes beyond the changes in the physical body.
I like that. And you can probably relate to this in your own life. Think about how much you've changed over the years, yet there's still that essential you that remains.
Exactly. And that's a really key understanding. It reframes how we think about life and death.
Oh.
But Krishna doesn't stop there. He then introduces this powerful idea of karma yoga, the path of selfless action.
Okay, let's delve into that a bit. Karma yoga isn't just about, doing good deeds, right?
Right. It's about acting according to your inherent nature and the path that's aligned with it, your dharma, but without being attached to what the outcome of those actions might be. It's a really subtle but profound change in how we approach things.
So much of our lives are focused on the outcome.
Exactly. And Krishna stresses that we have control over the action, we take the effort we put in, but not over the final result.
So we can control what we do, but not necessarily what happens as a result of our actions.
All right, verse 2.47 is crucial here. Your right is to perform your duty only, but never to its fruits. It's about focusing on doing the action with integrity to the best of your ability without being consumed by what might happen afterward.
That makes me think of all the times I've been so worried about the result of something that I haven't enjoyed the process of doing it.
It happens to all of us. We're so often driven by the results, the promotion, the praise, the win, that we sometimes miss the satisfaction of the work itself.
And this focus on the action itself, when done with genuine intention, can lead to inner peace.
Think about it this way. Have you ever been so engrossed in an activity that you completely lose track of time? That state of flow comes from being fully present in the action itself.
That's a great point. So alongside this idea of selfless action, we also have Sankhya Yoga, the yoga of knowledge. How does that fit into all of this?
Sankhya Yoga is the underlying philosophy that emphasizes understanding the true nature of the self and the universe. This understanding, this knowledge, is what helps us to see through illusions and detach from things that cause us suffering, like being overly attached to the material world.
So it connects back to that initial teaching about the eternal soul, doesn't it? Knowing that our true essence is unchanging helps us to step back from the anxieties and temporary nature of the physical world.
Exactly, and this understanding fosters detachment. Krishna encourages Arjuna to carry out his duties without being tied to the desire for specific results. Now, this detachment isn't about being apathetic or not caring. It's about maintaining an inner equilibrium, a mental clarity that stays steady, whether we experience what we perceive as success or failure.
It sounds like he's saying, do your absolute best, put in all your effort, but don't let your inner peace depend on whether you win or lose the battle.
Right, and that's incredibly relevant to our daily lives. Think about how much energy we waste worrying about things that are outside of our control.
So we can detach from the results, but not from the effort.
Exactly. By shifting our focus to giving our best effort in the present moment rather than being consumed by potential outcomes, we can cultivate a much greater sense of inner peace.
So we started this whole conversation with Arjuna being in this state of total emotional chaos, paralyzed by doubt. But as Krishna lays out these ideas, the eternal nature of the soul acting without attachment to results the importance of understanding our true selves. We see a change in Arjuna.
The text describes this shift beautifully. Arjuna starts to recognize his true identity as something beyond just his physical body and his role as a warrior in this specific conflict.
His attachment to the potential outcomes, the loss of life, the destruction of family, begins to lessen.
And as that attachment fades, clarity begins to emerge. He starts to understand his duty, his inherent path in this situation in a completely new light.
And that's the powerful resolution of this chapter. Arjuna, now equipped with this new understanding, becomes ready to fight. It's not that the external circumstances have changed, but his internal perspective has been profoundly transformed.
It's a story of hope, even in the face of overwhelming challenges. Inner clarity and purpose can be found.
So to bring us back to everyone listening, what are the key insights from our deep dive into the Gita today? We've explored the timeless nature of our inner being, this really powerful concept of selfless action, karma yoga, where the emphasis is on the doing itself, not just what we might get out of it.
We also touched on Sankhya Yoga, the importance of understanding who we truly are and the nature of reality, and the profound value of detaching from specific outcomes to cultivate inner peace.
These aren't just abstract ideas, they offer practical ways of looking at our lives and approaching challenges.
It's about applying this ancient wisdom to our modern lives.
Absolutely. And on that note, here's a final thought for you to consider. Considering the distinction between the actions you take and the results that follow, what's one area of your life where you might try focusing more on the present act itself rather than just the anticipated outcome?
How might that shift in perspective change your experience entirely? Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. We encourage you to continue contemplating the profound wisdom contained within this ancient text.
Yeah, and until next time, keep diving deeper.